This is an absolute robbery for the Los Angeles Lakers. We have a brand new huge report that dropped as it pertains to Rob Pelinka's plans in this offseason that is an absolute steal for the Lakers. We're going to break down exactly who that is and discuss what this means going forward, as well as a few other updates in today's video. But before we get into it, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. So thank you guys for your continued support. About 90% of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed to the channel, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also bear with the setup. I'm currently traveling, so for the next few videos there's going to be some not quite different setup than usual, but let's dive right into it. A lot to go over today, and again, thank you guys for your continued support and bearing with the quality here while I'm traveling. But let's dive right into it here. There's a new report that dropped just an hour, hours ago here, and this is from Jovan Buha, and there's a bunch of other things to kind of dive into as it pertains to this, but you can see this here. The Lakers have emerged as a potential destination for the former Warriors guard DeAnthony Melton, per Jovan Buha. Would you want Melton? And this one is a very interesting one. There's been a lot of different rumors, a lot of rumblings surrounding what Rob Pelinka's plan is going to be, who he's going to be targeting, and we know one of their number one priority at this juncture is the center position. That is what they need, whether that be Knecht, and there's a bunch of different ones like that. And of course, until free agency actually hits, we're not going to be 100% sure who they're going to be going after, but we know there's been some rumblings of trades, all these different things. But they're also in need of a 3-and-D wing and just a wing presence in general, especially since trading away Max Christie. Now, this report dropped, and it is a very, very interesting one because DeAnthony Melton's a guy who you can get for very cheap, and we'll dive into it here in a minute, but he's also not going to be a guy who's necessarily a game changer for this team, but I think he could be really, really effective in the role here. And you can see here, just for some context, back on November 20th, he's out for the season. Warriors announced ACL surgery, massive blow to the Warriors' rotation and depth. He only played, I believe, 6 games. We'll dive into his stats with the Warriors, and it would have been a huge help, especially in their playoff run for him. But he's a 1-year, $12.8 million contract. That was his contract with the Warriors, and they used the full mid-level on him. He looked sharp in 6 games, and Kerr had named him the starting shooting guard. Now he's done for the season and enters free agency again with the health question mark. So the reason that this is prevalent is A, he's coming off of a severe injury, ACL injury, and B, I believe it was an ACL tear, but regardless, an ACL injury, but B, he's not going to get paid nearly as much as he did last year. $12.8 million contract, a very respectable amount of money, the full MLE on him. But now, as you look at it, the exact quote from Jovan Buha of The Athletic was, "I really like Melton as a flyer. I think at this point he's going to be a vet minimum guy. I think he's a guy who, for a vet minimum contract, you could do a lot worse." And I think kind of the frame of this is, if you manage to get, let's say you go out and you get 2 centers, or you get 1 really good center, and we also have an update on Jaxson Hayes a little bit here, but let's say you go out and you get a really good center, and then you don't have a ton of money left in free agency, whether that's acquiring the center in free agency, whether it's trading for him and he has a huge contract, whatever it is. If you can get DeAnthony Melton for a veteran minimum, you're at a point where not only are you in very, very good shape for the team construction aspect, but also just the salary of how everything is going to work here. And that's one of the biggest things, because you look at his stats. Has he been fantastic? He's been very, very, very good. And this is somebody that, of course, we're talking about him as if, because he only played 6 games last year, a lot of fans aren't necessarily a veteran guy, all these different things. He's going to be entering his age 27 season in the middle of his prime, although, again, the injury is the big deal. Back to back, 10-point plus per game season. Of course, you're not going to count last year, so that's 3 seasons in a row where he's 10 points or more a game. He's very solid defensively, averaging he is fantastic, over a steal a game. It would be a highway robbery if you're able to get DeAnthony Melton for a minimum contract, because even if he comes out and he's a 5-point per game guy that's very good on defense, that's still worth the veteran minimum. But if he can come back and be even a shell of himself, which is a very good to elite 3-point shooter, really good defense, or at least solid defense, averaging a steal and a half a game, and then he can put the ball in the basket a little bit, it's exactly what this Lakers team needs. And in order for this team to actually be able to thrive and have a good season next year, you're going to need to hit on your trade regarding a center. You have to be able to hit on that trade, or if it's a signing, you have to make sure that you hit on that and make sure that's good. But also B, making sure that whoever you get to kind of fill around the gaps, whether that be a guy like DeAnthony Melton, but whoever is going to be replacing, I guess, the Max Christie of last year, but also just the bench role, that's going to be where you really need to lock in, because at the end of the day, you're at a point where this team needs a lot of holes filled. They don't have a lot of avenues to do it. Of course, they have some guys you can trade. There's been some rumblings about trading Austin Reaves. There's been some rumblings about trading all these different guys. But one of the key ways to begin this team building process would be to get DeAnthony Melton. I think it would be a fantastic pick. And I want you to let me know down below in the comment section, Well, even if it was for a bit more of a veteran minimum, I don't think he's going to get the $12.8 million that he got last year, of course, due to the injury. But I just think he's such a solid guy and who can really elevate the floor of this team. Would he be a starter? I mean, there's a very real world where he could be. I think he's probably best off the bench, especially with Austin Reaves, assuming he stays. But other than that, you're in a position where not only are you very confident in your team, because you can build around him then if you get him for a veteran minimum, but also some other things as well. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that, because he would slide into that backup shooting guard role, replace kind of what Jordan Goodwin was doing at a much higher level. Gabe Vincent, I have a feeling that Gabe Vincent is probably going to get traded. Dalton Knecht probably going to get traded in some salary moves for a center. We know there's been a lot of proposals for centers surrounding Kleber and Knecht for guys like Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford is of course a really highly touted center for the Lakers. There's been a lot more rumblings as of late surrounding Daniel Gafford and the Lakers. So I think if they're at a point now where they need to get a center, it'll probably be via trade. So because the trade option seems the most likely, it makes De'Anthony Melton a much better suit. And a new report here dropped back in March 28th, where it said, okay, this is not the new report, but March 28th, bringing back Jaxson Hayes has become a priority for the Lakers, along with evaluating an underwhelming pool of front court talent. And you can see here from Clutch, back in March, a report surfaced that LA is enticed on bringing Hayes back, not shocked anymore. And of course, some new reports, some new rumblings have dropped surrounding Jaxson Hayes and the Lakers, simply because of the fact that I think, and this is the interesting thing. Also, let me know, do you want to see Jaxson Hayes back with the Lakers? I think they're in a very interesting spot. They need their 1A center. I think Jaxson Hayes can be a good backup center in the NBA, depending on who you get as your 1A guy. Like, I don't know if a 1A, 1B of Nick Claxton, Jaxson Hayes makes a ton of sense. They're a bit similar. But even a guy like, my dream scenario, kind of be a guy like Nick Claxton, who's really athletic, can pick and roll fairly well, can really play pick and roll defense at an elite level. But then also having a guy like Steven Adams off the bench who can be a big, brute guy to guard guys like Nikola Jokic and all those different things. But if they're bringing Jaxson Hayes back, it's going to be interesting to see what direction they go with the center. And it all correlates, like the center trades that we're talking about, the reports of keeping Jaxson Hayes, them going after Daniel Gafford at a high level, like them pursuing all these guys. It all circles back and correlates with players like this and reports like this that are going to continue to surface from guys like Jovan Buha, because it's all a part of a big plan. And in order for the Lakers to build a successful team, they have a lot of holes to fill, which means they're going to need to hit on some of these veteran minimum deals in order to, fill out some of the, big flaws that they have. And I think by Jovan Buha linking him, right now, I think it kind of points at this is a very real player. And he also screams Los Angeles Lakers to me right now. He just screams like he'd be a good Los Angeles Laker, would fit with the team. And again, everyone is going to be flocking to join the Lakers because of Luka Doncic, because of LeBron James. And I think when you have that ability like the Lakers do to get some of these players, even though they're not the marquee guys, it'll be very good going forward. But let me know down below what your thoughts are. Do you want De'Anthony Melton? What are your thoughts specifically on Jaxson Hayes? Do you think that he should stay in LA, or do you think that they should, let him go? A ton of moving parts. We're going to keep you up to date. There's some other reports coming out as well. So we'll keep you up to date with all the latest there. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Cheers.